Welcome, everybody, to the Prolonged Engagement Show, where the subscribers are made up and the views don't matter. This is special episode number 2. Today's episode is going to be about The Last of Us Left Behind. If you have not played The Last of Us, what is wrong with you? And
you shouldn't miss this episode until you actually do.
Yeah, you should just not watch this at all. Just don't watch it because
we will be spoiling.
There will be spoils out the asshole.
Spoils from The Last of Us, the original game, and this DLC pack.
Yeah. So the DLC pack is Left Behind, which is actually out. If you played The Last of Us and you have not played Left Behind, it's on the PSN now as standalone DLC. So you can just download that right now. So if you played The Last of Us on PS3 and you got a PS4 now and you just want to play it, then download it on your PS4. That's what I did. And I played through it and everything. But if you have not played The Last of Us, or you have not or not played Left Behind, please turn this off.
And turn this off.
Turn this off
and
go play it now. It is.
And then you can come back and watch this.
It is honestly the best video game I've ever played in my life. And
it's amazing.
I like it. And there's, if you have a PS4, there's no excuse. Because the remaster version is out and it's only $50. Go do it now. It's gorgeous. The gameplay is perfection, and the story is beyond anything you could ever find in cinema, and it's just
very, very good.
Go do it. All right. So now
we did. Do you want to put like a big?
There's our thing. All right. Here we go. We're starting now. What are you doing?
What is she doing?
She's licking my foot.
Okay, I thought she was like throwing up and I was worried.
No, she's licking my foot. So, this past week, like I said, I played The Last of Us on PS3. This is before the remastered version came out. So I played it
back in.
I was playing it when. Oh yeah, so it was after I got the PS4, but the remastered version hadn't come out and it hadn't even been
thought about,
discussed or anything like that. So I've been hearing just awesome things about the game. Not to mention it was made by the creators of Uncharted. Which is
one of your favorites.
Which is Naughty Dog, the developer Naughty Dog. But the end of the year sales on Amazon for PS3 games. So you want to hear this?
Yeah.
56% of the games bought for PS3 were The Last of Us in 2013.
That's fantastic. That just shows how good that game is
56% of the PS3 games.
And they're making a second one and probably a movie.
They are making a movie. Maisie Williams is going to play Ellie.
I'm excited then.
Mm-hmm.
I was so worried about that casting.
Yeah, Maisie Williams is going to play Ellie. I am. See, I think that they could do it well.
If they do
in
it
cinema,
correctly.
But I believe that video games should be left as video games, and I don't think that they should make it into a movie, because the story that The Last of Us portrays is so integral with the gameplay that I don't believe that it could come across in cinema as well as it could.
I think there's a way for it to. There is a way.
Mm-hmm. And Neil and Bruce are actually behind the movie.
Okay, so then it's going to be good.
So they actually are going to write the movie.
Okay,
the
so
screenplay for it.
I think it's going to be fine.
So, but I'm not I'm not.
Who do you think should play Joel, though?
I mean, see that. See,
That's the problem.
No, my other problem is I don't want Maisie Williams to play Ellie either. I don't want anybody to play Ellie.
How come?
Because this is Ellie.
Yeah.
And Ellie in a movie is not going to look like her, and it's not going to sound like her, and it's not going to be her. So I'm going to have a very, very big problem with that. I mean, there is... So lots of people can sit there and go, oh, well, like let's just say years from now, they make another Wolverine movie, a new Wolverine movie, and Hugh Jackman is not Wolverine.
That's not Wolverine.
Then, exactly. So people are going to say, that's not Wolverine. Well, I'm going to straight up say, if they make a Last of Us movie, that Ellie is not going to be Ellie, and that Joel is not going to be Joel.
Yeah.
Because Ellie and Joel were who they were in the video game, and that's it. And I'm lost for who voiced Ellie, but Troy Baker was the one who voiced Joel. Who's
one of my favorite voice actors.
Who, if you don't know who Troy Baker is, he's in everything.
Without you ever knowing it.
And he played, he did the voice for Delson in Infamous Second Son, and he's done just loads of stuff.
The problem is that no one ever knows who he actually is.
Video game voice acting. Everybody in the video game
world knows who he is.
Yeah, knows who he is. So, all right. So, Left Behind starts in it. It's a two-storied DLC story pack thing.
But it's not set two separate stories. They are intertwined.
Kind of.
It's between flashback and flash forward.
No, it's flashback and present.
Oh, present. They count that as present, sorry.
Yeah.
I count that as flashback since we finished the game. But it's present. I'm going to confuse people, aren't I?
Were you not even there when I was playing through it?
I was watching.
Should I just leave you out of this episode and just talk on my own? Anyway, okay, so
I was paying attention.
If you're watching this, you've played it because I told you not to watch this if you haven't played it. So this part of the game, so Left Behind takes place before the winter act of The Last of Us. So this is after Joel has fell off of that balcony and fallen onto the rebar that goes through his stomach, and between that point right there, and then when winter starts and Ellie's there, shooting the bow and arrow at the deer. So all right, so Ellie brings Joel and gets him out of that area, gets him out of that area where he got hurt, and they get held up in a mall.
Yeah.
There is a store that she holds him up in, and kind of.
It's a Froyo store, if I remember.
Yeah, or something.
Froyo ice cream, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. It's and she kind of, patches him up a little bit, but she needs to go find what is it called? The whole objective of this storyline is to go get a first aid pack for Joel.
Yeah, so that she can fix him up.
And so that's what you are doing throughout this and throughout that part of the story. Now, what Left Behind does is it makes parallels between the present day with Joel, and then a flashback memory of Ellie and her friend Riley, which is right here on the screen.
Yeah.
So the first time you see, so you go through you're going through the mall, and then you get to a point where you flash back. You see Riley for the first time. She's become a firefly, and it looks like you
are part of a school learning how to be a soldier.
Ellie is part of a school, and she's doing soldierly things. And
the soldier's training is to kill fireflies.
Right. So Riley comes in. They don't know that she's fireflies. Riley's been gone for 45 days is what she says.
Yeah.
Ellie didn't know that she left.
No,
Ellie knew that she left,
but didn't know why.
Didn't know why or anything, and didn't know if she was even alive. So Riley comes in and she's like, "I didn't even know that you were you knew you were still alive. Why did you leave?" And all this stuff, and the two of them have to fight through this together
because they're best friends.
Yeah, they're best friends. So Riley takes Ellie to a mall. There you go. And so they do things like, now the present day Ellie actually has to fight infected, and you have to play the game like the regular Last of Us. All of the parts with Riley, they are not fighting infected.
No.
It is just those two being human.
And children.
And not having to worry about the infected until the very, very, very end of that.
Yeah.
And so that part with Riley is the part that I liked the most. Because the writers wrote in some really, really humanizing things.
Yeah.
Where you don't see these two girls as products of a world gone awry, but really two young women who are learning about each other and themselves.
Yeah.
And figuring out what it means to be a teenage girl in this time.
Yeah.
When you could die at any time because of this infection that is running rampant through the universe, through the world, and but the way that the reason that they are safe and okay is because it's a what's it called?
They're in the quarantine zone.
They're in a quarantine zone, so they've pretty much quarantined this whole area to where no infected can get in.
They think.
They think. And at the so there's things like they're walking through the mall and they have to figure out ways around it, and they go into like a spooky store, right?
They go into a Halloween store.
And
that made me really happy.
Yeah,
happy and sad at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And they start picking up masks and they start playing with them and scaring each other. And there's a magic 8-ball thing.
There's a magic 8-ball skull.
Yeah. I was like, I want that.
But so you actually have to, and then with the magic 8-ball skull, you have to interact with it. So you have to hit, triangle, and then she asks a question. She's like, one
of the ones that I laughed at.
Will Riley ever be as funny as I am? She shakes it and looks, and
it says no or something.
And then she says things like, will I ever play a video game again? And shakes it, Okay.
One of the ones I thought was interesting was, will my boobs ever get bigger?
Yeah, will I ever get boobs? And it's just, things that
normal teenage girls actually think about.
And that's the beauty of the whole flashback era.
Yeah. Oh.
Is that
put that over there?
Is that
I feel like it's in the way.
You can they were able to do that. They were able to just be
girls.
Kids. They were able to be young girls.
Yeah.
And so there's that point. And so there were multiple questions on there, but you had to hit triangle for every single one of them.
Yeah.
And because The Last of Us is very, very near and dear to my heart. It's, like I said, it's my favorite video game of all time, and I really, really wanted to get everything that they gave us in Left Behind. So I made sure that I was going
You
to
hit that
I was
button.
going to ask every single question that Ellie was going to ask. And Sarah was sitting there like, why are you doing that? And I'm like, I want to know this.
Yeah.
I want to know. I want to know who Ellie and Riley are. I want to figure that's
One of the things.
go.
Oh, I found interesting. I don't know if you remember this, but in the photo booth,
Mm-hmm.
and they're taking the pictures and doing funny faces and such and whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and then they do. It asks, "Do you want to post on Facebook?"
Mm-hmm.
And they ask, "What's Facebook?"
It's actually a part in the game where they say, supposedly it was supposed to post to my Facebook page.
Did it?
But I didn't see it post to it.
Okay, because that's why I was like, "Post it."
Yeah, so it was, but it says no internet connection or whatever. I don't know why it didn't do it, why it's screwed up or anything.
But no, the internet connection was part of the game itself.
Yeah, so it
I
said
got
no
that.
internet connection. Oh, hold on.
It's doing it again. My thing falls all the time. So I'm constantly talking like this.
But so yeah, it was supposed to post to my Facebook, and they say, what's Facebook? And this is actually a photo from in the photo booth.
Yeah.
And so you can,
You chose
you
different
get
things.
four different different photos like you normally do in a photo booth, but you can actually choose the poses that
Yeah.
they get into. So every photo every photo thing can be different each time that you play it. And that part of the game was an excellent.
Yeah.
That's what Left Behind was all about. It was about humanizing these two girls.
Yeah.
And
Making them more like people and less like
mhm.
I don't know exactly how to say it.
They end up going after they they go through the Halloween store and they put on a different masks and things of that nature. They they go to a part where they're throwing bricks at old cars, and trying to bash out the windows. They go down into the where the electricity is, and they turn the electricity back on.
Yeah.
And there's a carousel downstairs. They end up riding the carousel. After they ride the carousel, Riley gives Ellie this book of puns.
Yeah.
And so
those
this
are
is
so cute.
another one where you have to just click the button, and find the puns.
And there were a couple of them I was just like, oh.
Yeah, a couple of them were like, "Oh, that's so cheesy," and so that's also what they said too. So, they said, like, "Oh, what's a pirate's favorite word?" And Riley goes, "R," and then Ellie goes,
letter.
"No, 'tis the sea," and then they're like, "Oh, I get it, it's the sea," and so they're actually reacting to these. And there's some of them where like, oh, that's not funny, like that was stupid. And then there's other ones that are like, that was really good. And the conversation that they have with these, they're like, most of it is like, yeah,
I get it.
and then most of them, and then others are like, wow, that was actually pretty funny. And then others are, it's just them having fun.
Yeah.
It's just them being two
Normal
teenage girls
kids.
having fun, and and then so they do the puns, and then they end up going into
An arcade.
and then Ellie sits there and goes, I've been out long enough and I'm gonna have to go back. And Riley says, I can't go back with you. I can't stay here with you.
Yeah.
Because they're going to ship me off, as in I can't stay in Boston anymore.
Yeah.
And
And Riley's going to another city.
Riley's going to be going to a different city, and Ellie just can't take it anymore. She goes, well, "What do you want me to tell you?" And she gets angry, and she goes, "What do you want? Just go then." And I mean, you can see the hurt in those in the eyes of those two. All right, back from the phone call. So, you can see the hurt in their eyes, and on their faces, and they don't exactly understand what's going on or how to feel or anything, because they're teenage girls and they're living in they really are just products of where they are in life. But then, after they get mad, Ellie sits there and goes, I'm sorry that I told you that, to just go. But she goes, I really do mean it, that this is what you've been, working for your whole life. And she goes, I don't want to stand in your way just because. And Riley sits there and goes, I'm a firefly, and I came into this knowing that I could be killed. And she throws out some water guns that Ellie's been talking about for, which is one of the questions that she asked.
Will I ever get to play with a water gun again?
Will they ever give us our water guns back? And she shakes it, but Riley says, "Well, I found you your water guns." She just throws them on the floor, and and that's when she sits. That's when Riley sits there and says, I'm a firefly and I could have been killed. And she goes, I didn't go through all of this and come all the way across town because of these water guns, to give you these water guns. And then that's when when I think, and the face that you see on Ellie is just, she understands that Riley came back to see her.
Yeah.
And so they play with the water guns and whatever, and Ellie sits there and goes, yeah, they end up getting soaked. And Ellie just sits there and goes, we have to say goodbye. This is it. I mean, I have to go back and you have to go with the fireflies, and we have to say goodbye. And so Riley asks if Ellie still has the Walkman with her. And so she has the Walkman, and the tape in it is something that Riley gave her.
Yeah.
So Riley says, do you have the Walkman still? And Ellie says, yeah. And so gives Riley the Walkman. Riley plugs it into, they're in the store that they're in with the water guns is an electronics store. And so she ends up plugging it into one of the speaker systems, and they start playing the music, and dancing to it. Okay. Yeah. So Riley gets on top of one of the counters, and she tells Ellie to get up on one of the counters, and they dance a little bit. And Ellie just slows down and just stares at Riley and says, "Don't go." And then at that point, Riley, takes off. That's all Riley ever wanted, was for Ellie to say, "Don't go.
Yeah.
I want you to be here." And Riley goes, "Okay, I'll stay." And so she takes off her firefly tags and throws them on the ground.
Yeah.
And then at that point, Ellie moves closer to her and kisses her.
Yeah.
And Ellie says, "I'm sorry." And Riley just sits there and goes, "For what?" It was what they both have. It's what they both had wanted for a long time, but
none of them had said.
But neither of them had said it. Neither of them had really understood.
or knew how to deal with those type of emotions.
Right. And also because, you know, it's also a lesbian relationship too.
Yeah.
So they're thinking, you know, is this right? Is it wrong? Would it be right if it was with a boy? Would it not be right? They don't know what to feel, and it really is because they are in the, you know,
Post-apocalyptic world that they live in.
they're in the world that they live in, and that's really where it comes down
And
to. But right after that, you
hear
know,
a clicker.
the infected come in, and they have to run away from the infected, and through that they're trying to get out of the mall, and
Keep
in
each
that
other safe.
in that Ellie gets bit on her arm, which is where her bite is in The Last of Us, and Riley gets bit on her hand, and so they have to sit it out and wait. They end up just, you know, kind of defeated. They end up sitting down, and Riley says, well, we can go out the easy way. You know, we just take care of it right now. It's quick and painless, and, you know, we won't have to worry about turning into one of those things. And are you fucking kidding me?
Hello? My weigh-in went fine, Mom.
It wasn't a weigh-in!
But they don't do weigh-ins. You don't understand. You have to ask to do something like that. You don't just get it. I did my weigh-in this morning back in the apartment.
You have to do your weigh-ins on your own.
Yeah, you do your weigh-ins on your own. You don't do it there. That's why it's really worthless to go there. No, they don't do weigh-ins there. It's just a bunch of old biddies sitting there chatting up about how, oh, I have beets in the fridge and that's how I'm losing weight, or oh, I'm just eating green beans, or shit like that, and it doesn't even matter. It's just a meeting place for them old people. No, because she's talking to the old biddies. I lost 3 pounds. And Kyle lost 6. I know, which pissed me off. All I do is drink water. I don't even drink any soda anymore. Yeah. Okay. Well, Kyle and I don't want to go to those meetings anymore because they're really worthless. Thank you, because Dad was saying that we had to go. He was going to force us to go. I know I get less. I know I don't eat what he does. I eat less than he does. Well, I already did that this morning. And I did it during the meeting. Because nobody gives a shit if I'm there. Love you too. Bye. I throw my phone against the wall sometimes, saying, hey, yo,
Right.
don't you call me. Infected the bite.
So they're sitting there defeated, and she says, you know, we can do this quick and painless, or we can just wait it out. And Riley says that She doesn't want to do option one. And
She'd
so
rather go insane with her best friend.
she said, we'll keep it poetic and we'll lose our minds together. And so that's what they choose to do. And at that point, that story ends.
Because we all know how it ends.
And since you played The Last of Us, you know how that ends is that Ellie doesn't turn and Riley does. So, I mean,
Ellie has to shoot Riley.
I mean, we can only extrapolate the things that have to happen, whether or not she just leaves when Riley is infected and does not do anything to her, doesn't end her, or actually has to do it and shoot her or stab her or something. But that's what you have to. That's what
That's what you know happens.
I mean, this whole time that you're following the story between Ellie and Riley, you're moving through the mall in present day looking for the med pack for Joel, and that's just classic Last of Us.
Yeah.
You're fighting clickers, you're fighting regular infected, and so
I
on
didn't
and so
see any
forth.
bloaters.
Looking for things, and at the end of the present day point, you actually find there's you have those guys that have been searching for you and Joel, and they actually track you to
the mall.
They track you to the mall. So then you have to take out a bunch of them and take out a bunch of infected and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Eventually you get out, you fix up Joel, and then you drag him off with the horse. But it's
excellent.
It really is just a fantastic. It's a fantastic addition to The Last of Us, and it gives a whole different feel.
Yeah.
Than The Last of Us gives you. You get that stuff in The Last of Us where you have the humanizing points, like when you see the giraffes and you see Ellie reach for the giraffes, and and in the times where Ellie tells Joel, your watch is broken, and those things that just pierce your heart, and things like that. And that's just why it really is the best video game I've ever played. I
won't lie, I'm very excited for the second one.
And if Neil and Bruce can do that again, it will be incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. So yeah, that was our special episode of The Last of Us Left Behind. This is special episode number 2. So yeah. So there's two shows going on today. There's this one, and then we're gonna put up episode 17 as well. So
which we've already decided it's going to be about soda and Deadpool.
Yeah. So since we haven't recorded that one yet, we're recording that one next. So at any rate, go ahead and click the old TV to see the next episode, episode 17, and we'll see you
in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.